Hi everyone. So the full autopsy report hasn't been released, but the official cause of death for Nex Benedict has been stated by the medical examiner to be suicide. This seems really suspicious, and I want to say a few things about this because the cause of death was stated to be a combination of two drugs, Prozac and Benadryl. And that is a really unlikely way for somebody to die. I mean, you can overdose on Benadryl. It takes quite a lot of it, but it can be lethal if you take an awful lot. I'm not sure if Prozac can be lethal, but again, if it is, it probably takes quite a high dose to do it. But the thing that I find really interesting is that as far as the news outlets have been saying about this autopsy is that the report doesn't mention things that were observed in the emergency room, which was like bleeding under the scalp, bruising and bleeding under the scalp, cuts and bruises across the body and on the backs of the hands from defending himself. And there has also been some body cam footage released of Nex walking through a hallway immediately following this attack. And it's clear in the video that Nex is having some balance impairment. Like, Nex appears to be struggling to walk straight and correctly, kind of wobbling a bit. All obvious signs of head trauma. And what I wanted to say about this is if Nex did ingest a fatal amount of these two drugs, if that actually is what happened, I have my doubts. He did it in an impaired state. He obviously had some kind of an impairment going on from the head trauma. From the weird gait, stumbling around trying to walk, the bruising and bleeding on and under the scalp, and stuff like this. Like, clearly he suffered some head trauma, and somebody left in that state doing something that would be fatal really should be the responsibility of the doctors that let him go home. They shouldn't have let him go home. But also the school, who didn't get the proper care immediately following this. The school didn't call for an ambulance. Excuse me. I think that this is just a failure all the way around. I'll be curious to see when the full autopsy report gets released what it contains, because so far it seems like the medical examiner didn't really do a good, thorough job. If things that were noted in the emergency room and what the parents said they saw on Nex's body immediately following the attack, if the medical examiner didn't notice any of that stuff, did he do a thorough job with the examination? Did he even do a job with the examination? That's a question. Was this just a rubber stamp? Like, okay, this is a controversial death, let's just make it a self-termination. I don't know. Is there a conspiracy? I have no idea. But I think it's rather interesting to think about that this kid was left in a clearly impaired state following head trauma. Witnesses said his head was beaten against the ground repeatedly. Witnesses, the family and the people at the ER said that, there was bleeding on and under the scalp from head trauma. The footage shows him struggling to walk straight because his balance was impaired by head trauma. And lo and behold, the next day he's dead. So if he did ingest something that was fatal, he did it in an impaired state that he wouldn't have been in had he not been brutally attacked. And had the police, the school, and the hospital staff taken the correct actions, and they clearly didn't. So, yeah, I just want to toss this out there and get people thinking about it. And if you want to leave some comments, keep it civil. I'll be monitoring it. I'll remove stuff if it's nasty. So until later, have a great week. Stay safe. Bye.